So everyone knows the feeling. You're out there yesterday, the fish were on fire, and all of a sudden it's like a light switch went off and none of those fish are reacting to your baits. You're taking casts, you can see these fish on forward-facing sonar and they're not committing. But that's the moment most anglers get frustrated and leave the spot. But this is the exact time you need to be thinking about switching to finesse fishing. In this video, we're going to go over the top 8 signs to look for to give you the indication that you should switch over to finesse fishing. So sign number 1. Maybe you've been out the last week, even yesterday, and you were smashing fish. It felt like you could do no wrong. All of a sudden today, you can't buy a bite. You're throwing everything at them that you have been the last few days, and you can't get a single bite. That's a sign you need to switch to finesse fishing. So sign number 2, we don't have the most ideal conditions. Generally speaking, this happens when all of a sudden you've got a cold front, you've got high pressure, maybe a storm rolled in. What that does is it completely changes the pressure and the mood of those fish. They go from being extremely active before those conditions came in, where they put the feed bag on. Now they're more in a neutral state where they're not really thinking about eating and they just want to relax and try to get through this phase of the cycle. Sign number 3, and this one we've kind of learned over the years. The full moon and the moon cycle has a big impact on these fish. So when you've got a full moon at night and you got clear skies, oftentimes that gives these fish a lot more light and visibility to be able to feed at night. What happens is you've got fish in the lake that are normally, daytime eaters, and you've got fish that are normally nighttime eaters. What happens is you get the nighttime eaters eating as well as the daytime eaters during the night. What happens is those fish have fed throughout the night, and during the day, they're just not quite in the mood like they are when they don't get the visibility at night, when there isn't a full moon or a lot of moon brightness. So keep an eye on the moon, look at those cycles, and understand that when you got a full moon, that's probably a time where you're going to want to take advantage of that early bite window in the morning. They're coming off the nighttime, they're still in the mood to eat, but that quickly dies in the morning, and all of a sudden they're hard to get a bite. So I always look at it and go, if I've got a full moon, make sure I'm in the best spot on the lake. You catch those fish early and know that finesse fishing is probably going to make up the rest of the day for me because bites are going to be harder than they were before. So sign number 4, and this is a really easy one. You know you're on fish and all of a sudden you're having a great day and the bite dies. What has happened there is you've essentially caught all the aggressive fish, the ones that want to, eat quickly. They're just in the mood to eat and they seem to get to the baits faster than the other fish. A lot of the fish in the school might not necessarily be in the mood to eat, or they've seen their buddies get hooked up by all those other techniques. That's a time when you want to make the most of the school of fish in front of you. You want to slow down, pick up some finesse techniques, and pick off more fish out of the school that you've already been catching fish in. Sign number 5. You're on a lake that's really popular, a body of water. Maybe there's been a pile of tournaments. What's happened is there's been so much more pressure than these fish can handle on these bodies of water. We've seen it over and over again, especially as forward-facing sonar, mapping technology, just general fishing knowledge has become more prevalent. There's just more pressure on these fish. We find that if you can identify that there's a lot of pressure on the fish early, you're able to make the switch, choose to move over to finesse fishing techniques, and you're going to find you have more success. Sign number 6, you're catching a lot of small fish. This is really prevalent, especially with the recent pressure over the years that we're having on these fish. Those big ones aren't dumb. They've seen a lot of different baits. Moving to finesse will generally start to get you a bigger average, especially if you can really dial in the forage. That's always a sign that I look for. If I'm looking for a big bite, especially in a tournament, I'm going to be thinking about finesse more than a power fishing technique. Sign number 7, you're getting a lot of followers or you're getting fish that are short striking. We can all relate to this. You're fishing a spinnerbait, a jerkbait, a crankbait, especially up shallow. You're reeling it in and you can see those fish following the bait and then they turn off at the last second. Really common sign. Another sign is you feel them nipping the bait. They're not quite getting it. Oftentimes, they're not in the mood to eat those power presentations, and that's a sign for you to slow down and give them a finesse presentation. And sign number 8, they're keyed in on slow moving forage. This is especially important when there's a lot of pressure or the water's colder, the baits are just moving a lot slower, and you can't realistically put a power technique in front of them that looks natural for the conditions that they're in at that given time. So if you got craws that are crawling along the bottom, or gobies, or minnows that are just moving slowly, the best way to mimic that forage and give them something that makes a lot of sense for them to eat is to give them a finesse presentation that's a lot more slow moving. So when you see these 8 signs, don't fight it. Quickly make the switch to finesse and you'll find that you'll have a lot more success on the water. If you gain value out of this video and you like what you're hearing, I encourage you to like and subscribe and check out the other Finesse Bootcamp videos we've put together where we share all of the finesse information that we've gained over the years and try to give it to you so you can have more success when you're out on the water. So learn with us and check out some other videos.